The darkness pressed against Lena like a living thing. She couldn't move, couldn't breathe fully, as though the basement itself had learned the rhythm of her fear and matched it beat for beat. The shadowed figure that had appeared moments before remained still, yet Lena could feel its presence vibrating in the air around her. It was patient, deliberate, and infinitely more aware than any human could ever be. The faint ripples in the mirror called to her. Part of her knew that stepping through might lead to Daniel, or it might consume her entirely. Every instinct told her to run, yet every thought she could summon, every memory of him, drew her forward. She took a tentative step toward the mirror, then another, the cool air thick with the metallic tang of something old and ancient. When her fingers touched the surface again, the liquid-like glass pulled her in. There was no pain, only a sensation of being stretched and compressed at the same time, as if her very essence was being tested, measured. Colors swirled around her eyes, crimson, violet, silver. Shapes flickered, faces she didn't recognize yet felt familiar, as if the house itself had recorded lifetimes and memories and pressed them into her mind. When the motion finally stopped, Lena was no longer in the basement. She was in a long, narrow hallway lined with doors. The walls were painted a muted gold, but the paint appeared to pulse faintly, almost as if it were alive. Light came from nowhere. It was everywhere and nowhere, casting soft shadows that moved independently of the rooms they outlined. She could hear the whispers again, closer this time, threading through her mind like silver threads. She tested the first door on her left. It was unlocked. The handle turned easily, and the door swung open. The room was a nursery frozen in time. Dusty toys littered the floor, a small rocking horse slowly moving back and forth as though powered by some invisible hand. A mobile above a crib spun lazily, creaking in a rhythm that matched Lena's heartbeat. She approached a small desk, and a diary lay open. The handwriting was tiny and precise. "Mommy says the house loves us. Daddy says we have to feed it." A chill ran down her spine. She picked it up, turning the fragile pages. The words shifted as she read, almost like the diary was alive. One sentence caught her eye: "We are never alone. The walls remember. The floor remembers." A faint squeaking sound drew her attention. The toys were moving on their own. Wooden soldiers marched in precise formation, porcelain dolls' heads tilted unnaturally, their glassy eyes catching the light. One whispered clearly, "Feed us, Lena." The door slammed behind her with a resounding bang. She ran to it, locked. Her flashlight, which had accompanied her through the mirror, flickered violently before going out. Panic clawed at her chest. She pressed her palm against the door and tried to remember the steps she'd taken to reach this point. Then, from somewhere in the room, came a faint, hollow laughter. Not Daniel's, not human. Something older, wiser, and more patient. Desperate, she backed away from the door and noticed a small hatch at the corner of the room, partially concealed under a rug. With trembling hands, she lifted it. Below was a ladder leading into darkness. She had no choice. If she stayed in the nursery, the house itself would consume her slowly, like it had done to countless others. The ladder creaked under her weight as she descended into what she later thought of as the Red Room. The air here smelled of rust and iron, and the walls were glowing a faint crimson, pulsing gently. Hundreds of photographs covered the walls, people staring, people screaming, people frozen mid-step in the moments before the house claimed them. Lena recognized some faces vaguely, friends of Daniel, strangers from his interviews, but many were unrecognizable. Their eyes seemed to follow her every move, their expressions frozen in terror. The whispers intensified. Not just around her ears, but inside her mind. Names, dates, places, fragmented conversations. She realized with dawning horror that the house had memorized everything about the people it took. It stored their fears, their regrets, their love, and twisted them into something else. She felt a cold pressure on her shoulder. Whipping around, she saw a figure, pale, indistinct, but unmistakably human. "Daniel?" she whispered. The figure spoke, but the voice was layered with others, echoes of people she had never met. "It remembers all of them, Lena, and now it remembers you." Lena tried to move, but the floor beneath her rippled like liquid, rising and falling, pulling her toward the center of the room. From the red walls, dozens of pale hands emerged, not fully formed, grasping, desperate, begging for release. She stumbled backward, almost falling. One hand brushed her ankle. Cold, clammy, impossibly strong. She kicked at it, scrambling toward a cracked mirror at the far end of the room. The mirror shimmered. Through it, she saw Daniel again. He looked alive, terrified, but reaching out to her. She ran toward him, but the floor shifted beneath her, corridors appearing and vanishing like a dream. Every door she tried led her back to the red room, every attempt to escape frustrated. The house was teaching her the lesson Daniel had never learned: you cannot leave the house. The house owns your memory now. Her heart raced as she noticed something new on the mirror's surface. The sigil Daniel had sketched in his journal, a circle with an open mouth at the center. Lena remembered his frantic notes. It doesn't just trap you, it learns from you. It feeds on memory. It wants to become human. A whisper echoed behind her. Remember, Lena, or you are nothing. The red room walls contracted slightly, pushing her toward the mirror. Shadows writhed across the floor, twisting, forming shapes, faces that twisted into screams. One figure stepped forward, a reflection of Lena herself, smiling maliciously, eyes black pits. It raised a hand toward the mirror. Frozen, Lena could only watch as the mirror's surface rippled like water again. A voice, layered and distorted, called her name. If you want to find him, step inside. She turned, barely able to breathe. Every door, every hallway had disappeared. Only the mirror remained, and through it, Daniel beckoned again. The shadows pressed closer, whispering secrets of the house, of those it had consumed, of the inevitable that awaited her. Desperation overtook fear. Lena lunged toward the mirror. She didn't know if it would take her to Daniel, or to something worse. She barely had time to realize that stepping through might erase who she was entirely. Just as her fingers brushed the mirror's surface, the room's temperature dropped to freezing. From the darkness, dozens of pale hands erupted from the floor, walls, and ceiling, grabbing, pulling. She screamed, trying to pull back. Her reflection in the mirror froze mid-motion, mouth wide in a silent scream. Then the mirror flashed, white, brilliant, blinding. Lena felt herself yanked into something impossible, a place outside space, outside time, where the house itself seemed to breathe around her, and she realized Daniel wasn't waiting. He was gone. The whispers surged, overlapping. You belong to us. You will remember forever. And in that moment, Lena understood fully that the house was not just a building. It was an entity, patient, eternal, and hungry. It had been waiting for her. And now, there was no turning back. The world dissolved into crimson, and the last thing Lena saw before everything went dark was the flicker of countless faces pressed against the walls of the red room, smiling, screaming, and waiting. Lena is now fully trapped within the sentient house's memory space, the red room pulsating with lives it has consumed. The mirror offers the illusion of escape with Daniel on the other side, but the house is whispering promises that she may never leave, forcing her to confront the true nature of Holloway Manor. It is alive, aware, and eternal.